cigars all around. Cheers, y'all.
That sounds like a party about to begin.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this fine radio program, podcast, and video extravaganza known internationally as the world-famous Smokin' and Toastin'. Thank you for coming along and sharing this program with us. It's show number 316. Which puts us mathematically halfway to 333, that will be the big anniversary show. So we're looking forward to that. That's going to be exciting. On today's show,
on the show that really knows how to beat down a joke.
That's right. See, one of the things, and my wife may wish that she'd never introduced us, because up until you and I met, I didn't have really any closer friends that believe that a joke gets funnier every time you tell it.
Yeah, it's funnier
and my wife is like, "Oh, she's face palming. You know, why did I do this?" Well, welcome, folks, to show number 316. On today's program, we'll be quoting my partner here, Mr. Ian Barry, that you can smoke anywhere you want to in California, as long as it's not indoors or outdoors. That's an Ian quote, and it will come home to roost on today's show. So we'll look forward.
I try to kick the truth to the youth. You know, as they say,
and you do such a fine job of that. That's good. So big thanks to last week's special guest, Sean Hanrahan with Platypus Brewing Company here in our hometown.
Oh, he's so fun, man.
He was fun. He brought on beers. They were delicious.
And nobody says Bobby Dazzler like that guy.
Nobody. He says it better than Crocodile Dundee would say it.
I know.
I love that the most intense question I could think of to ask him was, Crocodile Dundee, what was up with that?
Nobody's like that.
Because he's from Australia originally, but he relocated here so he could brew some beers. Anyway, big thanks to them. And we have big, exciting things to talk about on the show today. In addition, by the way, to this news about smoking in California, we have the results of the Texas Craft Beer Cup. And since we're in Texas, I thought it would be interesting to look what beers won major awards at the Texas Craft Beer Cup this year. So we'll look at that. We'll look at some cigars to watch for, and the story of American whiskey from a 170-year-old shipwreck that could be worth millions.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So lots of good things that are all about cigars and spirits and craft beer on today's program. And speaking of those wonderful things, we will be tasting from Abita Brewing Company in honor of Mardi Gras, which is has been going on since Tuesday. In honor of Mardi Gras, we will taste the Mardi Gras Bock. From Abita Brewing Company.
Nice.
In
I don't think
Louisiana.
I've had that one. I've had most of the Abita stuff.
Yeah. Abita's a pretty popular brand in this part of the country, so they're usually fun. But I don't think I've had the Mardi Gras Bock either. Yeah. In honor of Imperial February, which we talked about last week. We'll be trying New Belgium Brewing's Juice Force. It's the Voodoo Ranger Hazy Imperial IPA. So we'll be trying that. And then in honor of breakfast, or in honor of dessert, or both, from Untitled Art, their ice cream waffle pastry stout.
Wow. So they have a whole series of these pastry stouts.
Yeah, they do. They're really good.
All kinds of
really
different
good
stuff
with them, too. And
going on them, yeah.
But nothing sounds better to me than ice cream waffle.
That sounds pretty awesome.
Except for ice cream chicken waffle. That sounds...
Breakfast of champions.
But I don't know if I'd want ice cream chicken waffle beer.
I don't think a chicken-flavored drink is what I want.
Yeah, I don't think
Although,
I'm going for that.
I mean, arguably... What's left after you eat the noodles in a chicken noodle soup is a chicken-flavored drink.
I think that's mostly a butter-flavored drink. Is what that's what that is.
One time, Chris Morris over at his restaurant where he works made me a pho-based.
Oh, interesting.
Beverage, which was actually outstanding. And I suppose that was a beef-based drink.
So you're telling me you don't go to the...
Maybe a chicken-flavored drink is not so bad an idea.
You're telling me you don't go to the refrigerator late at night and just take a big swig off the half-used bottle of bone broth that you have in there?
So I was about to say, actually, in this case, maybe you'd want your chicken beer warm.
Yeah, it does sound like a warm drink. A
no
toddy
no
rather
one
than a
really
beer.
wants cold chicken soup, right?
Right, exactly. Although cold chicken can be really good.
Cold chicken is different, right?
Cold chicken and
fried chicken,
cold pizza.
Yeah, that's all right.
Now we're talking. So we'll be looking at all those things. Plus, from Jalisco, Mexico, Excellia Tequila Anejo. Excellia. Is excited about this. I love Anejo tequilas in general, so we'll see how we do with the Excellia. So a lot of good stuff. Oh, and of course, on our program today, we will, as we've been doing for quite some time now, be bringing you the feature that more people seem to want to talk about, and I don't know why, than anything else that happens on this program. It's a little something we call Drinking News. And on today's Drinking News, our teaser headline... You have to picture Beavis and Butthead here. Or you just see the way. Breaking the law, breaking the law. That's our teaser headline. It didn't quite fit with the ukulele. No, see, there you go. There you go. Took me a second, but I'll go, I see what you did there. So breaking the law for today's Drinking News. So we'll be getting to that. Plus, if we have time, we'll get to this too. The most often recommended whiskeys of 2023.
Nice.
So when you say, hey, what should I have? These are the ones that people are pointed towards.
The most often recommended whiskeys of 2020.
Yeah. So we'll look forward to all that. How about you? You have an interesting week? You have a chance to smoke anything that is worthy of discussion?
Yes. As a matter of fact, I
one of these days, that's what you're going to do. I'm going to go, so just smoke anything interesting this week?
No.
You're just going to go, or yes, and then that's it. No further
The answer is
information.
yes.
What did you find out about what you smoked?
So due
this
to I've got a little bit of a different schedule this week due to a few things happening, being shifted around. But I left work yesterday evening, and between work and rehearsal, I found this great little dive bar.
Ooh, like sound of this already.
It's like on 249 called B&H. I mean, it is when I walked in, I was the youngest man in there by at least 20 years.
Oh, I love it. I'm going. That always makes me feel really good, you know?
Anyway, and I'm no spring chicken. But anyway, yeah, so I walked in, I ordered a shiner, and I went out on the patio and lit my cigar. And what I had was a Sin Grand Robusto Maduro.
Nice.
Have you had one of the Sin cigars?
I've had one, yes.
This is the first one I've had. I've been aware of them. They've been out for a while. I think 2021, maybe 2020. I don't remember
they are
exactly.
a newer brand, though.
But yeah, so they've been out for a little bit. So I grabbed this Robusto when I was at Specs the other day, I think. Because I knew I'd have to catch up on a review, and I hadn't had this one. I was like, well, this looks interesting. So this was the Robusto 5x54 with a 5-year aged San Andreas Maduro wrapper from the Dominican. The binder is 5-year aged Corojo 99 from the Dominican, and the filler is 5-year aged Seco Habano Vuelo Abajo Corojo Viso Original, Habano HVA, Corojo 99, Ligero.
That's easy for you to say.
Also from the Dominican. So this is a Dominican Puro.
And was this the IRA or the IRA? Is that
Yes,
the one you
the
had?
IRA.
Okay.
I think didn't you review this not too long ago?
I did, yes. I still have my notes on it. I was looking back at them.
I'd be interested to see.
To see how they compare, yeah.
So the appearance on this espresso brown, veiny, oily, leathery in appearance, semi-rustic, and firm overall feel. 2 bands on it. It had the big Sin band and then the IRA band right underneath it. It's very pretty. The pre-light sniff on is mocha and barnyard, sweet tea, and slightly fruity notes that I got on it. The pre-light draw, I used a punch. It had a light draw to it, creamy and sweet, leather and mocha, kiss of pepper going on. The initial light blast of sweet fruit and mocha backed by toast and oaky notes. Underlying pepper keeps the palate anchored.
But I wrote in my notes from when I reviewed it that it did have a little bit of a pop to start with, but it wasn't at all a Nicaraguan pepper blast. Obviously, it's not Nicaraguan tobacco, so that's part of the reason.
It had this big, robust flavor to start with, but it was to me, it was very sweet fruit mocha, like roasty toast and oaky things going on. It wasn't a pepper blast. There was pepper involved, but it wasn't a pepper blast by any means.
Right. Well,
I wouldn't call it a pepper fluff or waft, but I mean, it was there. It was there to keep it anchored. The first third, I got sweet, creamy coffee and mocha envelopes the palate. The background is oak and pepper on toast. An underlying fruity note weaves throughout. Retrohale is sweet, oaky, and toasty, almost a bourbony kind of note to it. Solid ash, perfect burn. Second third, spice picks up a bit here and adds some fun to the sweetness and creamy coffee. Fruity flavors become more prominent as well. Toast and oak finish with a touch of sweet tea. Retrohale is sweet, fruity, and toasty. Solid ash, good burn. The last third is cigar toasty and sweet, coffee and fruit, sweet tea and oak. All these things come together with a kiss of pepper and cinnamon on a tail end. Medium strength, abundance of silky smoke. Retrohale is peppery and sweet, solid ash, good burn. I think I got this cigar $7-ish. Do you remember what you paid for yours?
I have in my notes here 8 to 9.
Okay, it's possible it was 8 to 9, and if that's true, then I give it a 5.5. It was a good cigar.
Exactly what I gave it, a 5.5.
Yeah, it was. I couldn't remember what I paid for it, and when I looked it up online, there were places saying $5. I was like, no, I know that's not what I paid for it. So at $8, $8 to $9, and 5.5, it was a good cigar. I'll get another one. It was very enjoyable. Did you get all the sweet notes out of it that I got?
Yeah, I did. I was just looking back at my notes from when I did. That was when I smoked last year. But in the notes, I talked about how it was a very different profile from the cigars that I normally smoke, and that was
very different.
One of the reasons I think I enjoyed it. It was just it was different, but it wasn't. It didn't lack complexity.
Well, and if I would say on that particular cigar, I mean, if you're interested like in something in the medium range, like most of the time in the medium range, the cigars I get, the cigars I smoke, my go-tos are kind of spicy. And this one was more of a sweet.
Right. It did have a little pepper kick to it.
It had a little bit of pepper to it, but I mean, it had more sweet than anything that I've smoked in a while.
Absolutely, yeah.
I don't even remember what I've had recently that's got that much kind of sweetness to it.
Well,
so
I remember,
it was nice.
I remember liking it a lot. I had something very interesting. I had the Southern Draw Manzanita, the Toro.
Oh.
Southern Draw is, and I keep wanting to call it Southern Drawl, but it's Southern Draw.
We call Robert Holt and say, hey, man, we need to do something about this. Because
Southern Draw is a newer cigar brand. They hit the market for the first time in 2014. They like to name their expressions after plants or things that describe plants, and Manzanita is, in fact, both. In addition to literally meaning little apple, Manzanita also refers to shrubs or trees that have a reddish bark. There is a slight red hue to the Manzanita cigar outer wrapper, so I'm guessing that's where this one got its name. Southern Draw is not big on telling us where the tobaccos that were used in their blends are grown. They say they don't want to give us any preset expectations before we even light up. They do, however, let us know that the wrapper is a Habano hybrid leaf, the binder is Habano, and the filler tobacco is Pelo de Oro and Corojo 99, along with others. It was blended and rolled at the Tabacalera A.J. Fernandez factory in Nicaragua. And he does work on a lot of the Southern Draws, is my understanding. Pre-light sniff revealed earth and fermented tobacco, hay, and tea leaf were the primary notes on the cold draw. The draw was a little tight, which worried me, but turned out to be fine once the Manzanita was lit. Citrus and earth were the first notes to hit my senses, and I got a little bit of chocolate, too, in the first third. By the time I hit the second third, those were joined by one that reminded me of chai tea. If you've ever had a good chai tea. I don't really drink chai tea, but I've had latte, like chai tea latte. Anyway, that gave the cigar a nice creamy sweetness and made it very enjoyable. Despite my initial concerns, the cigar burned great, almost perfectly, as a matter of fact. The draw was not quite as open as I usually prefer, but it smoked well and gave me plenty of thick gray-blue smoke. Gray-blue would be the color of Superman's hair when he gets older.
Oh, nice.
You know, because Superman had that blue-black hair, remember? But once he gets older,
It's
it
gonna
would be gray blue.
yes.
Yeah, exactly. I detected a little bit of hazelnut, a hazelnut note right around the halfway point, and that stayed with me all the way through the final third. The creaminess backed off a little to make room for earth and a little bit of pepper, especially on the retrohale. The Manzanita was complex and very well balanced. Construction was as good as it gets all the way through. It's not cheap. Manzanita will set you back $13 or $14. But I do think that you get what you pay for with this one, so I'm going to give it a solid 5 price to quality.
So I look back at my review on this, and we have a lot of parallels on there, especially the tea. The tea leaf thing going on, which on mine snuck in a little bit later as pretty interesting. The nuttiness you were talking about, and the chocolate notes. Mine, however, had burn issues.
Oh.
I put a
and
note
that's so
down
interesting
here.
because mine could not have burned better.
I gave this a solid 5, but I left the caveat. I would give it a 6 if no burn issues. The one I had was the Robusto.
Interesting. Yeah. So this one was the Toro, but that was one of the really outstanding things about it was it burned just absolutely perfectly.
You know, I love the Southern Draw stuff. I don't think they make a cigar that I don't like.
I agree.
The Jacob's Ladder,
I like the
Cedrus.
Rose of Sharon.
The Rose of Sharon is so
great.
good.
It's really, really good. Yeah, and you're right about Cedrus. In fact,
Cedrus is so
I
good.
reviewed the Cedrus, I want to say 4 or 5 months ago, but I remember really, really enjoying that.
Yeah, Cedrus is one of those cigars where when I see it, I generally pick one up at least.
Yeah, at least put one in the. Yeah. What do you call that box? You know when you go to Casa and you walk into the humidor and they have those open top wooden little thin wooden boxes that you get it and you put your cigars in it while you wander around the humidor. What do you call those
shopping
things?
Box?
Yeah, it's like it is. That's what it is. It's a shopping box.
Right.
I wonder if those have a name.
You know, I never pick those up. I always end up with an oversized handful of cigars.
I love that.
And
a fistful of cigars. I love that. It seems like it would be an ad for Cigars International. Fistful of cigars.
Right.
Speaking of Cigars International, they are opening stores in Katy and Conroe.
I know. Are we
both to
going?
the north and west of Houston.
I got coupons for one.
You got coupons?
I got coupons in the mail.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
I think one of them's like a free 5-pack with some purchase.
Dude, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Well, I don't think they're open yet, but they're good. I'm on their email list, so I saw an email like last week.
I bet you have a digital coupon in there somewhere.
Photos of the under construction site, but they said it's coming along. So yeah, we'll have to go and check it out. Speaking of check it out, we have lots to check out, including some fine beers and a little bit of tequila on today's show. We will begin getting to that when we come back. It is Smoking and Toasting, program number 316, if you can believe it. I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around it myself. We'll be right back.
Halfway to 333.
Welcome back to Smoking and Toasting. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. Speaking of fine spirits, Ian, I have another thing that I could put. You know, I realized that I already put the Cuban Cohiba that's going to, a box of the Cuban Cohibas that are going to
that's on your
retail
Christmas
for
list
more
for
than
me, right?
$100 a piece. Yes, that's on my Christmas list. And we added to that, gift suggestions from you at Christmas time. We added to that a box of the General Cigars U.S. Cohiba because they're going to have one that's almost as expensive. I think it's around $80.
I mean, you want to be able to directly compare those two.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. You want to A-B them if you can.
Right. I mean, just light them at the same time, one in each ashtray, and then occasionally swap hands.
Because, the battle over the Cohiba name rages on.
Yes.
Between the Cuban Cohiba and the one that's available in the rest of the world. So in addition to those two things, I also would like to put a bottle of whiskey on my list.
I mean, you have to have something to drink while you're two-fisting. And you have to have something to drink while you're two-fisting your American and your Cuban Cohiba.
The story of this whiskey that I want begins on an ill-fated evening in December of 1854. A passenger steamer called the Westmoreland floundered in the frigid waters of northern Lake Michigan. In addition to the 17 lives that were lost that night, with the contents of the ship's hull, which included, and all I want for Christmas is one of the 280 bottles of whiskey.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's
I'm sorry,
280 of them.
280 I'm sorry, not 280 bottles, 280 barrels.
Oh, barrels of
Yeah, I just want one bottle of the whiskey that was in that. It was largely forgotten by history until 2010 when shipwreck diver Ross Richardson discovered the wreckage of the Westmoreland 200 feet below the surface of the waters. And according to his team, the cold and calm conditions of the water have worked wonders in preserving the submerged vessel. In fact, he estimates it to be among the best preserved wrecks of the 19th century, which brings us to the booze. There's no guarantee how much of the liquid is left or what quality it exists in, considering that it's resting in wood instead of glass. But the price of what remains, they say, would be a single bottle of the Scotch salvaged off of the coast of Scotland from a shipwreck. Recently went for almost 13,000 pounds. So they're estimating basically this whiskey could be worth millions. That's been in the bottle
how much
of
per
Lake
bottle?
Michigan. Oh, well, I'm sure it won't be more than I'm sure it won't be more than, I don't know. The whole thing would be about 871 million.
Okay.
So you just figure how many bottles in a barrel,
Divided by
and so I'm sure it would, Ian. I'm sure it wouldn't be more than about 20,000.
outrageous.
Yes,
that
yeah.
they're not charging more.
I know. Can you imagine? So put that on my Christmas list. You know, it's like one of those.
Your Christmas list is going to take me a while.
Yeah, I understand. You know what else?
We're going to have to push this program a little bit harder.
You know what else? You know what else you can put on there is just a song for Nicaraguan pepper blast. See, you could just give me a song.
At what cost, man? At what cost?
Exactly. Hey, speaking of we're going to have to push the show a little harder. Wanted to remind everybody we want to start with a segment where we answer your emails here on Smoking and Toasting. So I don't know if we've talked about the email address very much, but if you want to email us, and you can do so with questions, they can be about hand-rolled cigars, they can be about fine spirits, they can be about craft beer, or they can be about none of those things. If you just want to ask us generic questions about life, we're the guys to answer that.
Oh, yeah.
So email us at ST, that's for Smoking and Toasting, ST@rfcmedia.com. That will get your email to us. So we're going to start. We've got a few emails that we've not ever acknowledged on the air. So I think in next week's segment, we're going to talk email. And answer the mailbag. So there's another song we need is a Smoking and Toasting
The mail song?
email bag song. Yeah.
Email song.
Yeah, so
You can't call it the mail song. That would be toxic.
right. That's right. We're far more woke than that. We will go with the E.
I know I
song.
said something funny when I hear Jean giggle over here.
That's right. Right. If it's just me laughing, probably wasn't all that funny anyway. I just have a very warped sense of humor.
You know what I have here in my hand?
I believe you have a beer.
I have this beautiful Abita Mardi Gras Bock, brewed and bottled by Abita Brewing Company, LLC, Abita Springs, Louisiana. Says,
You know
let the good
what I have
times.
in my hand?
Oh,
Some
see?
cups for beers.
This is like we should get together.
Yeah, well, it's totally working in concert with
You
each
got
other.
your chocolate and my peanut butter.
Exactly.
Did I just date myself with that commercial? Let the good times roll with this carnival favorite brewed with pale Pilsner and caramel malts, German Pearl hops. Mardi Gras Bock is similar to German Maibocks in its rich malt flavor and full body. So it's similar to them.
Love it.
That cap didn't clink like it should
No,
have.
you wanted a little more of that rattly sound.
I don't. Is it the cap?
Trey.
It's something about
It's
the
something
cap.
about the cap. You're right. It doesn't have as
It doesn't have a clinkle.
Okay, that's
It has
interesting.
Kind of a flat sound.
yeah. Usually there's that very distinct cap rolling around.
Yeah, there's a little
sound.
metallic clink, right?
Exactly. So, well, you mentioned that you were dating yourself. I'll ask while you pour. I did that a lot in college.
I'm dating myself, and I'm finding that I'm not sure I want to pursue the relationship.
Listen, the one thing I can tell you about dating yourself, though, is you can always get lucky at the end of the night. So there you go. Oh, yes. This is just us today, so I have two.
Oh.
All right. Wonderful. I like the way you think. All right, so this is the Mardi Gras Bock. Now, Abita Purple Haze, they're very well known for.
Yeah. Purple Haze is
They make what is the Gator one? Andy Gator.
Andy
is
Gator.
a pretty mean little beer there.
Turbo Dog.
Turbo Dog is the one.
Turbo
of
Dog
favorites,
is like the iconic Abita to me.
Yeah, I think so. Although I see Purple Haze a lot of places.
Yeah. Well, Purple Haze is different. That's the sweet one. It has
right.
Is it blueberries in
I
it?
think it is blueberries.
Blueberries or raspberry? Blueberry.
And it was before the sour craze really started. Because Purple Haze has been around for a
This
while.
smells
But,
great.
yeah, it really does, doesn't it? It's
I'm
got
just
that
threatening it with my nose.
It's
right
got
now.
that bring me a pretzel smell.
Yes, very much, very much. Like this, like just on the nose goes great with pretzels and
I like it.
mustard.
Brats. Pretzels and brats and Bock. Oh my.
It was not exactly what I expected, but it's really good.
Yeah, it is. It's. I was expecting, to be honest, something a little more along the lines of Shiner Bock, and it is very different from that, at least to my taste buds.
Shiner Bock is a great beer. I think this right here is just a different take on it. Like this has got a little more bitter to it, but it also has a little more sweet. It's a little less down the middle, so to speak, than say Shiner Bock. It's sweeter, a little bit like the Springbok from St. Arnold's, but it has a little more bitter than you'd expect. So it's kind of a nice blend of things.
It's really a pretty drinkable beer, I think.
It's a little more viscous than I would have assumed too.
Yes, got a little more heft to it in terms of mouthfeel.
Body.
I'm kind of digging it though.
Oh yeah, I'm pouring myself a second.
Always good to see you doing continuing research.
It's got the right amount of, I think, carbonation in it too to make it fun.
Are you familiar with a website called Scotch and Cigars?
I'm not.
It's interesting website.
I don't know why I'm not familiar with that. Like that sounds like something I'd go to.
It's an interesting website. They posted a while back, and we've not had a chance to get to it, but I wanted to go over it today. They posted their list of the top 25 cigars of the year for last year, and also some honorable mentions. So let me just run over these real quick. The honorable mentions included the Hoya de Monterey Sultans, the Enclave Broadleaf Churchill. That's a regular for me. The La Antigüedad Toro Gordo. The Hoya de Nicaragua Hoya Silver Corona. E.P. Carrillo's Core Plus Maduro Churchill Especial number 7. Alec Bradley's Project 40 Churchill. And Herrera Esteli Miami Toro Especial. Those were just the honorable mentions.
Those are big cigars too.
Yeah.
So most of those are bigger sizes.
And so interesting,
like the
because
Toros
a
and
lot of
Churchills.
those I would have expected to find on the list. So when you have those in honorable mention, it'll be interesting to see what made their list. And here it is. Number 25 was the Punch Diablo Scamp. I don't think I've had the Scamp.
Well, that was the Scamp.
I think Scamp may be a size though.
It would have
Punch
to be.
Diablo and then Scamp is a size.
Probably a smaller size.
24, La Aroma de Cuba Mi Amor Churchill. That's a very good cigar. Juan Lopez Selection number 2 at 23. Plasencia Alma del Fuego Concepcion at number 2. We've both, I think, reviewed that cigar positively. La Flor Dominicana Double Ligero Lancero at 21.
Yeah.
At 20, the Espinosa Habano number 4. 19 is the Tatuaje Nuevitas Hibaro number 1. You've had that one?
I've had the Tatuaje, yes.
Yeah. Fuente Opus X Reserva de Chateau. Interesting because for years Opus X topped every one of these lists. And it's still very, very good, but on this particular list, they do give them their props, but it comes in a little lower at 18. Oliva Serie V Lancero at 17 or
I
35.
had one of those last week.
Rocky Patel's Platinum Limited Edition Habano Toro
Haven't
at
had
number
that.
16. The Punch Knucklebuster cigar, Natural Toro. That's a very good cigar. I've had that. Rocky Patel LB1 Toro at number 14. The Perdomo Estate Selection Vintage Maduro Imperio at number 13. I haven't had a Perdomo in a while. I need to.
I got lucky enough to have a little store around the corner that has just a little cabinet humidor. And one of the things that they always stock is the Perdomo 10th anniversary.
Nice.
So I get one of those once in a while, actually. And that's a great cigar.
It really is a great cigar. At number 12,
Nick knows what he's doing.
the H. Upmann 1844 Reserve.
Yeah, that's a good cigar.
What a great cigar. Monte Cristo Yellow, number 2 Torpedo at 11. Romeo and Julieta Reserva Real Nicaragua Robusto at number 10.
Yeah.
That is a fine
Hard
fine
to go
cigar.
wrong with that.
Absolutely. The Monte Cristo White Churchill came in at number 9. I reviewed a White Churchill. I got one as a Christmas gift from my mother-in-law. She, gave me a nice little packet of cigars at Christmas, and I was like, this is great because I would
never buy that for yourself.
buy that cigar. And I smoked it. I reviewed it here on the show. Yeah. It was so good. It was like, this shows you how good a lighter-bodied cigar can be and what they're supposed to be like. Instead of just meaning there wasn't much flavor.
Right.
There weren't many notes. It was full of flavor.
That, my
even though
friend,
it was
is also the
lighter-bodied.
difference between a lighter bodied beer
Oh, absolutely.
and a macro craft
Oh,
or a
absolutely.
macro beer.
Oh, absolutely. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy the what is that slogan for Michelob Ultra that we were joking about?
I can't remember.
Yeah. For some reason, the only enjoy slogan I can think of is "Enjoy the Go," but that's Charmin Toilet Paper's slogan, so it's not that. Or maybe it is if you drink a lot of Michelob Ultra. At number 8, the Cohiba Royale Robusto. I don't think that's the $100 one.
I don't know.
So maybe you can just give me that one for Christmas. It'll be cheaper. The Macanudo Gold LE 2021 Pyramid. I don't smoke a lot of Macanudos, although I did a lot when I first got into cigars. But I did review one of the Macanudo Inspirado Red Label cigars last year on the show. It was fantastic. It was really good. It was their slightly bolder, slightly more in your face.
Yeah, because I think Macanudos tend to be on the mild to medium side.
Generally speaking,
on the milder
generally
side.
speaking, yeah. At number 6, the Padron Series 1926, number 6.
Hard to go wrong with any of that.
5, the Davidoff Winston Churchill. Hard to go wrong with that,
Yeah,
even though I'm not a
those
big
are
Davidoff
great.
fan. The Winston Churchill is great.
Those
Hoya de
are
Monterey,
also expensive.
Hoya de Monterey Epicure Selection number 2 is at number 4.
Yes.
I am a big fan of the cigar at number 3, the Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua Maestro.
Yes.
Very good cigar. Alec Bradley at number 2 with the Blind Faith. They put the Gordo
Go Alec
there.
Bradley.
And finally at number 1, and I have had the cigar and it's very good. I don't know if I'd put it at number 1, but it is very good. The CAO Pilon Robusto Extra.
That's a good cigar.
So that quite frankly, that's a better list than some of the ones that we have looked at. You know what I mean?
Just the honorable mentions was a great list of cigars.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to point out that this particular list, while it had some Robustos and Lancero or two, a lot of the cigars were bigger sizes than a lot of lists put out.
I have
where
become
the Robustos and the
I used to probably my favorite size cigars were would be a tie between Robustos and Torpedos, my favorite size and shape. And now I smoke way more Toros than anything else. Way more. So, all right, we are going to take a break. When we come back, more to talk about here on Smoking and Toasting, including some cigars for you to watch for that are about to hit the shelves. So stand by for that info.
nice.
Smoking and Toasting. Nice. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting, our program all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars, all of which are getting more and more scarce in the state of California. Ian has a joke from when we did a show out there at Beverly Hills Cigar Lounge, which to this day I don't know how they keep it open because it seems like all of the forces in California are so anti-tobacco, and it's funny.
They literally only keep it open because it's only the man and his wife that run it.
Right. It's
So
just,
it's a family business.
Right.
Run by family. It's grandfathered in.
and it's also a wonderful place, by the way. Beverly Hills Cigar Lounge. If you're in Los Angeles, go and check it out. What's interesting, Ian, is almost everyone I know that lives in California smokes cigars. Like almost everyone.
So one of the things I remember about the Beverly Hills Cigar Lounge, and I don't know that we mentioned it all that much, but the cigars there, they had a nice selection of cigars.
Yeah, they did.
They were kind of expensive.
Yeah.
And
Well,
the drinks there, they had a nice selection of drinks, and they were kind of expensive. Can you imagine the overhead that they have there, though?
Oh, that's what I was about to say. It's not uncommon for prices at a cigar lounge to be
Absolutely
more expensive.
And that was the thing. Like, the place was so cool. The people were so nice that it wasn't even an issue. You just go in and you're like, you know what, this is worth it. So it was kind of like getting a piece of culture and history when you walk
maybe
in.
even a little nostalgia. Yeah, absolutely.
And then on top of that, and again, you're paying a little more, but at the same time, you're keeping this place alive. That is, I think, one of the last bastions.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
Of cigar smoking in the whole area.
And it's likely to remain one of the last bastions because a California Assembly member, state of California politician, has introduced a bill aimed at banning tobacco sales forever.
Oh.
You know, just like outright can't buy it. Includes handmade cigars for anyone born after January the 1st, 2007. The bill, if enacted, would mean that eventually no one in the state of California would be legally allowed to buy cigars.
Say, like, if you were born after this date, you are never allowed to buy a cigar.
That's right. And if you think about it, not a lot of wiggle room. If you were born in 2007, so we're 23, right? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 is 5. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 is 10. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 is 15. 23, if you were born in 2007 or before 2007.
I'm sorry, can you do that math again?
No, I barely did it that time. I was told there would be no math, so that's why I count on my fingers. But I just wanted I wanted to make sure I understood. 16-year-olds could buy, depending on when your birthday was, 16-year-olds could buy tobacco. But basically, that window will close. In other words, eventually, no one will be able to buy. Because you can't buy it under. Oh no, 16-year-olds can't buy it now. That's
so
right.
then you're going to have.
So it basically means nobody can, right?
So then in 20 years, you're going to have 40-year-olds buying cigars for 30-year-olds and getting in trouble for it. Mm-hmm. Whatever, makes sense. That math doesn't work out, but I don't care.
Like the kid that stood outside the liquor store waiting for somebody older to come along. Dude, could you buy me some beer? I'll give you the money.
I mean...
Yeah, no, it's Assembly Bill 935, introduced on the 14th of this month by Assembly Member Damon Connolly, and it would mean basically everybody in California who's 16 years or older, as well as the future generations.
Do you think he
yet to be
has an
born.
exactly that age daughter or son?
Probably so. I'm guessing probably so. About 38 million
You'll never
people.
buy tobacco in this town, kid.
About 38 million people live in California. It is the most populous state in the U.S. Minimum age to buy tobacco and other products in California is presently 21. Now, but here's what, and again, I'm not an anti-pot guy. I'm totally fine with it. I don't smoke weed a lot. Every once in a while, I will, take a hit off somebody else's, I'm that guy, right? But in California, you can't swing a cat around without hitting a weed store. They're everywhere, right?
Oh, and people vaping, smoking
right
on the street.
But tobacco.
Dear God, do not have a cigar on the street.
Right. Oh, my goodness, yeah. As you've always said, you can smoke anywhere you want in California.
Ticketed for a cigar standing next to a person smoking weed.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, I don't know. I find the whole thing very interesting and duplicitous, but yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
So
that's outrageous.
Let's hope the bill doesn't pass.
That's
because
absolutely outrageous.
Because the smoking police will try to get it passed everywhere else.
That's the kind of law that gives me like
California.
that one eye twitch that makes me just like, I can't believe how stupid.
Yeah, and you're not pleasant to be around when that eye twitch is going on, by the way, just so you know. It's a little freaky. It's a little freaky.
You have to think to yourself, is this guy actually serious about this law, or is he just introducing it to try and make people like put up with his bull crap.
Well, that
Like,
could,
what is going on?
that could very well be, because I think a lot of laws are proposed that they know that there's no way they'll ever get approved. So
Or maybe
they're doing it for,
he's like, we're going to put up a law that's so outrageous that by the time we put up the law we want, you're going to be like, oh, that seems reasonable.
all right. So you have poured us some Voodoo Ranger. It is Imperial February, by the way. We declared it so after Dry January ended, and we thought,
Have you tasted this
what
yet?
better way? No, I haven't. What better way to celebrate the month that follows Dry January than by calling it Imperial
You're
February?
probably going to want to slide that back over here and just not taste it at all.
Oh, you think I won't like it?
Yeah, I mean, this is. I mean, unfortunately, like, this is just not something I think you're gonna think is
Holy
being
moly.
completely facetious. This is outrageously good.
It really not only is it outrageously good, but I've never had an Imperial Hazy or Juicy IPA before.
It's brutal on the tongue.
I've had Imperial, but I don't think I've had one that's Hazy.
If
or
you were
Juicy.
like, man, I've never tasted an IPA, I'm not sure if I'd like it, don't try this one first.
I love this.
It's fantastic.
I love it.
It's fantastic. It leaves your mouth watering so bad.
Yeah, it is like somebody took a grapefruit
yeah.
and made it beer. You know what I mean?
but without adding a ton of sweetness. There's a little sweet on the front of the palate, but it is grapefruit bitter.
All kinds of
finish on
citrus
the
on the
end.
finish, yeah, and it is a wonderful bitter. But most Imperial IPAs I have tried finish pretty piney.
This one's
You
called
know?
Juice Force IPA.
Juice Force, I love that.
The
The
Voodoo
Voodoo
Ranger
Ranger series. We gave New Belgium Brewing a little bit of crap a few weeks ago because they've changed the formula on Fat Tire, which has always been a great beer. But boy, are they doing a good
WTF,
job.
people. Fat Tire was brilliant.
But boy, are they doing a good job with this Voodoo Ranger series of IPAs.
Yeah, this one's coming in at a lightly sessionable 9.5%.
Oh, there you go. I told you it's Imperial February. All right, we'll be right back, and I'm going to sip this in the meantime. This is good beer. Oh, my God. This is what life's about right here.
Good.
Welcome back into Smoking and Toasting. Our program's all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. I cannot say enough about this Voodoo Ranger Juice Force Imperial IPA. It is fantastic. Wow,
Not
it's
just for
good.
breakfast anymore, Cruz.
Yeah, although we're recording the show a little early this week, and when I mean early in the day. So yeah, we're not just day drinking; we're morning drinking. So
We do this for you. This is a sacrifice that we make.
someone has to do it. We're just glad that we were called upon. That's all I have to say. The TCBC, the Texas Craft Brewers Cup, is the only professional beer competition run and organized by the Texas Craft Brewers Guild. It is a competition that showcases the outstanding quality and variety of Texas craft beer. It's now in its second year, and here's what they do. 852 beers were anonymized, meaning
Wow, okay.
like a blind taste test, right? 852 different Texas craft beers were judged by the industry professionals and experienced beer judges over the last weekend of January. The 81 medal-winning beers, along with the 2 Brewery of the Year award winners, were revealed in the closing ceremony on February the 11th. Let me just go through a few of these winners. It's pretty darn cool. Austin Beer Garden Brewing Company.
Mm-hmm.
These guys win a lot of awards, and I've been to the Austin Beer Garden. It does not come off like a brewery. It comes off like a beer garden. Like, I mean,
Nice.
they do brew their own beer on the premises and stuff, and it is available in the greater Austin area, I believe, in other places now. But they won gold in the Pilsner category. Silver went to Live Oak Brewing Company, and bronze went to Real Ale. And these are all, being from Texas, we're familiar with all of these breweries. And I will just say, if you're not from Texas, you need to come visit us and sample some of these, because there really is some great craft beer
there's some
going
great
on
craft
in
beer in
Texas.
Texas.
In the category of American International Lager / Light Lager, La Beer from Austin won the gold. 500 Pesos from Farmers Branch won the silver. And Polymath from Dallas won the
seen
bronze.
that one. I
Yeah,
haven't
and so
tried it.
these
I've
are
seen
all beers that I haven't tried. So I'm very excited to be able to put my hands on some of this. And that's one of the things I always do. Whenever I travel anywhere, one of the things I always want to do is go to the beer store or the supermarket and find the beers that I can't
Right, find some locals
can't find
that are fun and
locally.
interesting.
Exactly. In the category of golden, blonde, and light ales, the gold went to Nito Bandito out of Dallas. Big
love their name.
Thicket Blonde from Dallas took the silver, and Easy Breezy from Buckskin Brewing Company in Nederland picked up the bronze.
Nederland even.
Yeah. The Kolsch category, Kayakers Kolsch from Central District Brewing in Austin won the gold. Allstat Kolsch from Fredericksburg.
Allstat Kolsch is outstanding.
That's the silver. And then Frost Beer from Frosttown Brewing here in Houston.
Yes,
won the,
I went to
won
that.
the
I
bronze.
sent you a picture from Frosttown.
You did,
Brewing.
yes, I remember
That's
that.
walking distance from your house.
I'm pretty excited to go try their Kolsch.
Yeah.
Let's do that soon. In the category for session and standard German and Czech lagers, the bronze went to Das Boots with the Fur from Nederland and the Buckston Brewing Company. Letty from Doracol Distilling and Brewing in San Antonio took the silver. And the Freudian Slip and Slide, what a great name.
Freudian Slip and Slide.
From Roadmap Brewing Company, San Antonio took the gold. We got to do a road trip here and check out some of these breweries.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about trying some of these. In the category for strong German and Czech lagers, Deutschlager from Kunstier Brewing in San Antonio. Kenster Brewing in San Antonio took the bronze. The silver went to Zilker Brewing Company's Zilkerator out of Austin.
Zilkerator.
And from Salado, Texas, Barrow Brewing Company, Salado Bock was their gold medal winning beer.
Nice.
In the category for classic UK styles, the 512 Nut Brown out of Austin took the bronze.
Yeah.
That's a great beer. The House of Lords from Jersey Village, which is a Houston suburb, from Senate Avenue Brewing Company. I'm not familiar with Senate Avenue. Are you? They're out of Jersey Village.
It's not Senate Avenue? Senate?
Senate. Oh, I think you're right. Sorry.
I mean, I've heard of Senate, but I haven't.
I think it's Senate Avenue. Sorry, I was.
You put the
sometimes.
emphasis on the wrong
Well,
syllable.
sometimes when you're reading like these cigar names and these beer names, it's very easy to assume that the word is an exotic one, right? That it's got some different pronunciation. In classic UK styles, Walking Stick Brewing Company from Houston, with their Castle Pale Ale. Roared into the gold spot. So I find this list interesting.
Walking
Keep
Stick
going.
is right there by quite a few other little breweries over there in the Heights. There's like a little area where you can walk from brewery to distillery.
It's like Brewery Town.
William Price is right there too. So like brewery, distillery.
Yes, absolutely.
It's just a
very
neat
cool.
little area.
Free Will took gold in the session and standard hoppy pale ales and lagers. Free Will from Austin's Lazarus Brewing Company. Vector Brewing's Open Rhythms took the silver, and Floating in Space from Good Line Beer Company in Lubbock took the bronze. I told you all about the stouts and porters. Yes, American IPA. The bronze went to 40 Days and 40 Nights from Lazarus Brewing Company out of Austin. I'm not familiar with those guys. Are you?
I think that's
Been
the
to
second
Lazarus?
time they've been on the list.
I think so, yeah. Oddwood Brewing's Cold Night for Alligators came in at number 2, or the silver, rather. They're out of Austin. And Austin, rounding out the IPA category here, or the American IPA category, Meanwhile Brewing Company's Secret Beach came in
So
at number
Austin,
1.
Texas owned all 3 of those.
And they're putting up a pretty good showing for Hazy IPA as well. Heavenly Days from Zilker Brewing Company is the bronze. Leaf Peeper from Holdout Brewing is the silver. And Juice Serum from Salina, Texas, and Rollertown Beer Works took gold in hazy IPAs.
Nice.
So that's one thing. I think Houston's got a number of great hazy IPAs. Yep. I love the Juicy from St. Arnold. Big fan of the Mini Boss from Eureka Heights. Spindle Tap. Come on.
Spindle Tap.
Those guys do more hazies and juicies.
And just try any IPA if you want. They're
and
like,
for that matter, Ingenious.
Yeah, Ingenious is outstanding. Those two are kind of on the way to each other, too. Coming from Houston.
They really are. Amber and dark beers, the bronze went to Sunrise from Pondicetta Brewing Company out of Amarillo. Not familiar with that. I apologize. Bowie Bock from Freetail Brewing Company, San Antonio, took the silver. And from Acapon Brewing Company in Dripping Springs, the Karnstein Amber and Dark took the took the gold medal. Here's a category for you, my friend, the barley wine and strong ale category. Out of Lubbock, Texas, Good Line Beer Company's Old Man Marley took the bronze. Sabotage from Eighth Wonder took the silver. Eighth Wonder in Houston.
I'm going to have to go see if that's available.
Mm-hmm. And Battle of Britain from Maple Branch Craft Brewery took the gold in strong ales and barley wine. So all very, very interesting. There's a number of other categories. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I do want to do barrel and wood aged beers because I think you'll be interested in this one. The the award for the bronze went to the Bourbon Barrel Wee Heavy from Ranger Creek out of San Antonio. The silver goes to the Bourbon Barrel Aged Castle Black from Pondicetta Brewing Company out of Amarillo. And number one, the Lion Share X from Lakewood Brewing out of Garland, Texas. So very interesting stuff. And I realize this is a little bit Texas-focused and not everybody.
Whole Temptress
the Temptress series is wonderful. Wonderful beers. So I realize this is a little Texas-focused and not everybody lives in Texas. But because we do, and we're really proud of the Texas beer scene, and I think it does not get the respect it deserves nationally. I feel personally Texas wines have come a long way. A lot of them now are very, very good. But I think as it relates to the rest of the wine industry, I think the Texas craft beer scene is more important to the overall craft beer picture than the Texas wine scene is to the overall wine picture. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, because there's just so many great beers going on in the state.
If you're listening to the show, I mean, we're talking about a bunch of Texas beers here, but man, you could hit us up on an email with like, what are the best ones in your state? You know, I want to hear what's going on in Maryland. I want to hear what's going on in Oregon. I want to hear what's going on.
Let me just go ahead. Let me go ahead and issue this challenge. The email address is, we talked about it earlier on the show, ST. It's easy to remember, Smoking and Toasting. ST at rfcmedia.com. Send us an email. Tell us your name and what state you live in, and what the 5 best beers that come from your state are, in your opinion.
This is so fun.
Won't these be fun to read?
Already.
Yeah, won't these be fun to read? Send us your favorite beers, and you don't have to justify it. They're just your favorites. Like, what do you think are the best? You can justify it if you want, by the way. You can tell us all you want about each of the beers. But what I'm really interested in is the 5 from your state, because here's what we'll do. We'll do our best to get our hands on those beers and talk about them and taste them here on the show, because that's what this is all about, right? So again, it's ST at rfcmedia.com. If you will send us your
ST at rfcmedia.com?
That's exactly what I said. Think of S for smoking, T for toasted. And the reason we did the email address that way, by the way, was just because if we say smoking and toasting, then you got to figure out, do they want the apostrophes? Do they not want the apostrophes?
In the early days of this, I set up an email address, and we still have it.
Yeah.
But it's hard when you have to tell everybody, okay, I think it's with the apostrophes and no G's,
right? Exactly,
and an ampersand and no and. So no, I love your method way better because I just didn't know any better back then.
Put the emoji of the guy laughing so hard he's crying, then you'll get to us. You know, no, ST at RFCmedia.
That's so easy. ST at RFCmedia.com.
Yeah. So while we were talking about this, you had poured this tequila. And I picked my cup up thinking it was more of the Voodoo Ranger, Space Force Imperial IPA, and took a big old swig.
And boy, is it peppery.
Yeah, it is super peppery. So let's talk about this tequila a little bit. This is Excellia, Anejo tequila. It was new to me. I had not seen this before I bought the bottle, and so it could be
and by the way,
see.
thank you so much for clearing the
Again,
thin,
gets
dangerous
funnier every time we
plastic
talk
off the
about
top.
it.
And you notice there was no spills today because the neck had been cleared of.
Right. Sometimes
tequila.
if we don't do that as a safety measure, we can wind up with spillage. Or I know you've had some nasty plastic cuts on the tips of your fingers.
It's happened, man.
in
Like,
the
and I
past,
didn't even notice till later when I was cutting a jalapeno or something. You know.
Exactly. Says, I'm sorry, that was just a funny image. You're cutting a jalapeno. Like, ow! Damn it, Cruz didn't clear the neck.
Why didn't I wear gloves? This says Grand Cuvée. I don't know what the numbers are, but 16100 and 33210.
So we know it's 100% agave.
100% agave.
And it's a little bit hard to read that print there because it's small and it's, doesn't stand out that much against the edge of the bottle. But I'm reading the fine print in the finish of this tequila.
Excellia is an artisanal tequila made in Los Altos from 100% tequila. Tequila Blue Wonder agave harvested at peak maturity to ensure all utmost smoothness, fruitiness, and sweetness. Double distilled in copper pot stills and double matured in old barrels of French brandy and vintage Sauterne cask, the tequila develops a unique tasting profile from elegant fruity notes to complex flavors of spicy wood or rancio.
By the way, if you are, I happen to think this is very good.
It's interesting. So it's polarizing. I didn't know what to expect because tequilas vary so much in flavor. I mean, I guess all spirits do, but this is a polar opposite of a lot of times what we end up with in here.
Usually you get like a little bit of the maple and caramel. This doesn't have that, but it does have the vanilla. So
this has a stripped down version. This is pepper. This is oak. This is vanilla. And a little buttery kind of flavor going on right behind it. This has also a very, very mineral.
Yes, it has minerality to it.
Very, very big, like mineral flavor to it. So this is absolutely not what I expected. I expected a little sweeter. I expected a little, here's air quotes, smoother. But it's not that this is hard to drink. It's
but it is not a sweeter tequila at all.
It's not, and I kind of like it because of this.
Yeah,
I'm interested to see. I wonder what a few drops of water or even a chip of ice would do to it.
We might have to test this theory out.
I don't know if it would get. If it would gain more bitter or if it would gain more sweet, it's a little hard to tell. But it's actually really, really nice the way it is. So if you're looking for, what was the price point on this?
It's about $65.
Yeah, I would assume so. It's a beautiful bottle too. The bottle just feels like it has that like well-made kind of.
So if you are a
feel
tequila
to it.
person, let me put a date on your calendar. The first week of May, it'll be the show that we do for Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo is on Friday, the 5th of May, obviously. So the show that comes out
Cinco de Mayo
week,
is actually Spanish for Cinco of Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo,
So
yes, yeah, absolutely. So the show that we do that week is going to be, I think, one of the most, for me personally, one of the most fun we've ever done.
Oh, it's going to be just ridiculous.
Our special guest will be
Wait for it.
Liliana,
Wait for it.
our tequila expert, and Mark Burrell,
Dude,
our wine expert,
I
who is
can't
also
wait.
a big tequila fan.
I can't wait to see those two in the same room.
Right. So we're going to come in. We're going to have them on as guests, and then we're going to do. John will be very busy pouring that day because we're going to be doing an Anejo tequila blind taste test.
Now they know each other.
They do know each other. I think
do
they do
know
yes.
each other.
Well,
I
they know
mean-
each other from the show. Do they know each other outside of the show?
Well, so Liliana's son
Oh, right. Yes.
is a regular at the Rainbow Lodge, and they've met.
Which is where Mark Burrell is the sommelier.
Yeah, he's the sommelier. And by the way, we went there for Valentine's
Yeah, how was
Day.
that? So good. I got to make a reservation. Anyway, they will be joining us the week of Cinco de Mayo, the first week of May, and it's an Anejo tequila blind taste test, and all bets are off. It's going to be wild.
They're going to be so fun together. They're going to absolutely love each other.
All right, we'll be right back. Speaking of all bets are off, drinking news right around the corner on Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting, our program all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. Ian,
not to mention...
Yeah. Oh,
the tequila.
The tequila, yeah. I was just about to say, I really like this tequila. It's very different from the tequilas that I usually like, but I'm just really enjoying it. I dig it. And I have not seen this one before. So this could be a newer brand. I don't know. I mean, obviously they had Blanco and Reposado and Anejo, and I picked up a bottle of the Anejo, but
pretty darn good.
Just really, really good.
And you just picked it up on the strength of the way it looks, huh?
Yeah, well, so, all right, so let me just say this. My specs at on Smith Street in Midtown, they're awesome. Like, I love the store. It's like one of my favorite places in the world.
Because it's one of the best liquor stores in the world.
Yeah,
like, that place is amazing.
It truly is. But I will say one thing is, the guy that works the tequila aisle, like, tries too hard to help me.
Oh,
I'm sure the motivation is wonderful, but sometimes I just want to walk down the tequila aisle, scan the shelves, look for things that I don't know that I might be able to buy and bring in to the show if we're doing tequila that week, right? So, but he always tries to help me, and then he kind of hovers a little bit, and it's like, dude, I'm going to look at every bottle on the shelf. I'm going to be a while, and then I'm going to buy something. So I'm taking care of it.
It's like going to a museum with me.
Yeah, right.
Yes, I'm going to read every plaque.
You're that guy when they do the guided audio tour who stops and listens to the entire spiel at every. You're that guy. I love that. I absolutely love that. Anyway, but yes, I do. I go through, I look at everything, and I look for bottles I haven't seen before because I've been drinking tequila for a while, and I know a lot of it, so.
Oh, by the way.
Yeah.
That Specs downtown.
Yeah.
The food section.
Oh, dude.
And mercy, have you ever gotten a sandwich from there?
Oh, totally. They're not inexpensive, but boy, are they worth it.
Well, so first off, one of those sandwiches will feed you for 2 meals. Like, if you eat the whole thing in one meal, which is possible.
And I have done it.
It's totally not necessary.
Yeah, no, it's not. All right. Well, so we'll be getting to a little bit of information about cigars to watch for, which I promised. Some interesting things coming out, including some releases for St. Patrick's Day, because any holiday that's based around drinking should also be based around smoking a great cigar. And so that's what we'll try to encourage you to do. And we look forward to that. But right now...
And doesn't Alec Bradley make a hooligan cigar?
Yes, they do. And it's coming back out. That's part of what we're doing in Cigars to Watch For. So we'll tell you all about that coming up in just a few minutes. But first, it's time for Drinking News.
Drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. Drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. A Florida man with one arm said he had a gator for a pet. When asked about his absent arm, he said, I
had to take my gator to the vet.
Drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news.
Cheers, y'all. All right, here at Drinking News, we've brought you our fair share of stories about people breaking the law. I just have to say, and thank you for the Judas Priest. Like, Judas Priest on the ukulele is awesome, by the way. Almost as awesome as... is there any song Beavis and Butthead were more known for than Breaking the Law, Breaking the Law? Yeah, it was just... They just reveled in it. It was wonderful.
There was that one, and then the only other one I think that is like... They kind of really crushed on, like... they really crushed on Winger a whole bunch.
Oh,
man.
big
They
time.
used
Winger
to,
and Journey, too. They crushed on Journey big time. Wonderful. Well, here at Drinking News, we brought you our fair share of stories about people breaking the law, whether it was stealing a penguin from an Australian SeaWorld, using an inflatable Grinch to drive in the HOV lane, pouring a bucket of urine on your neighbor's front porch. I mean, we've all done it. Or making sure that your wedding guests have a really great time by baking cannabis into all your reception food. We've had plenty of stories about people running afoul of the law. But the truth most likely is that at one time or another, all of us have broken the law. I know I've done it.
What are you talking about?
We know politicians do it. Hell, I'll bet even you, Ian, have committed a violation or two in your time. I'm just saying.
I mean, I'm wearing one of those right now. I mean, what are you talking about?
But it is sometimes possible to break the... Hey, look, what you're wearing under your clothes is your business. So, it's sometimes possible, though, to break the law without even knowing that you're doing it. And so that's why today, as a public service, Smokin' and Toastin's Drinking News is going to let you know about some laws that might have escaped your notice. Let's keep it legal, my brothers. For example, in Virginia, it is legal to hunt, and it is legal to worship. But it is not legal to hunt within 200 yards of a place of worship on a Sunday. You've been warned. In Washington State, you can go to jail for using an X-ray machine to measure your feet in order to see what shoe size you should wear. Unless you're a podiatrist, and then it's okay.
There's a caveat to that one.
Also in Washington...
How does that become a law?
Who uses an X-ray? Right, exactly. There had to be an
I
incident.
mean, because for that to actually become a law, there has to be like multiple steps involved, right?
There had to have been at least one and probably more interesting incidents where, yeah. Why were you using my X-ray machine to find out what shoe size you are? Also in Washington, in Skamania County, lawmakers passed a bill in 1969 deeming, and I'm quoting from the bill here, slaying of a Bigfoot to be a felony and punishable by up to 5 years in prison. The law was later amended, designating Bigfoot as an endangered species. I'm not making this up, because, of course. In Wisconsin...
Isn't it? Okay, go ahead.
America's Dairyland. It is not legal for you to make any cheese of any kind unless it is determined to have a fairly pleasing flavor.
Do not make bad cheese.
Yeah, do not make bad cheese.
Or you will be.
Yeah, or you will be breaking the law. Building a commercial building in Wyoming. Make sure you don't violate the law by failing to include works of art for public display. Yep. Maybe that painting of dogs playing poker or something like that. You have
one
to
of
have
the finest
Yeah.
tapestries of all time.
Oh, yeah, come on, dude. That is something that is worth more than the carpet that it was painted on.
Has anyone in here never owned that?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't see any hands up.
Jong is just smiling. In Arkansas, be absolutely certain that you don't beep your horn after 9 p.m. outside a place of business if they serve sandwiches or cold drinks.
But only if.
If you're at Hobby Lobby, honk away. But, yeah, if they serve sandwiches or cold cuts after 9 p.m., no beeping your horn. That's the rule.
At a sandwich shop.
Here in our home state of Texas, it is 100% illegal to be found eating your neighbor's garbage without permission.
So again, somebody had to make that a law.
Yeah, exactly.
Because so here's the deal. When something happens once, I don't feel like that's of a monumental enough event to say like, oh my gosh, we need a law right now. So that had to happen more than once for somebody to make it an issue to become a law.
Exactly. Now, yeah, you don't think there could be a law based on one instance, right? It would have to be at least two.
You would think that it has to be a recurring instance for someone to go, okay, you know what? There needs to be a law.
There ought to be a law. Some people are saying in California there ought to be a law against buying tobacco. We talked about that earlier in the show. Buying cigars, buying any kind of tobacco product. Not sure I agree with that, but I may have to go on record as being in support of this law because in California, it is perfectly legal to enter live frogs into frog jumping contests, but it is absolutely forbidden to eat your frog if it dies during the competition.
What? Why?
Like you said, something had to have happened.
I mean, why? Put them in a pot.
Yeah. If you enter a frog into a frog jumping contest, that's legal. If
but
he dies,
that therefore excludes him.
Yeah, if he dies
from the
during
edibles
the contest,
category
he cannot
of the
be
contest.
lunch. Exactly.
Like, because you've got frog jumping, you got frog edibles, right?
Right. In Kentucky, it's totally against the law to display, handle, or use any breed of reptile during any religious service. And in
that seems a little bit on the restricting religious rights.
You think so? Yeah. If I want to handle snakes at my tent revival.
But I can also see why that became a law.
You know,
at some
all
point.
of those guys, and I'm just telling you this is true, all of those guys have been bitten at one point or another.
Did you ever watch the Grizzly Man movie?
No, I didn't see Grizzly Man.
Can I give you the end?
I've seen Cocaine Bear, though.
I haven't seen that yet.
I actually haven't. I won't go to see that.
I totally want to see that.
The only movie like that.
That movie looks so bad, it's going to be awesome.
The only movie that looks so bad, it's going to be awesome that I've ever actually gone to see, and I saw this in the theater, ladies and gentlemen, was Snakes on a Plane.
I haven't seen that movie
loved
ever.
every bad minute of it.
Well, see, that's
It
like
was
Cocaine Bear
wonderful.
seems like it's going to be that.
Yeah, no, Cocaine Bear's totally that. Anyway, I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
The Grizzly Man movie where the guy, feels like he's friends with the Grizzlies.
Oh.
And he goes and camps out with them.
Oh, my goodness.
Here's the end of the movie. He gets at
the end of the movie? Oh,
by a grizzly.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Now, there's no way that I thought that that's what could have happened when I first started watching this show.
Right.
I can't understand why people would think anything else would happen.
So, I haven't seen Cocaine Bear, but I have seen the trailer. And I knew I wanted to see the movie when...
Have you watched Ted?
Oh, yeah. I've seen Ted.
Ted's got some pretty funny parts.
Yeah. But in Cocaine Bear, in the trailer, I knew that I wanted to see the movie. Obviously, the plot is a bear gets into some cocaine, and then he becomes all crazy.
Yeah, and he goes on a rampage, right?
But the thing that made me know that I wanted to see it is in the trailer, there's this brief, 1 second shot of the bear lying on its back making a snow angel. It's like, okay, I got to see that movie. There's no way I cannot see that movie.
Cocaine Bear.
So anyway, in Kentucky, it's against the law to display, handle, or use any breed of reptile during any religious service. And in Louisiana, you may not have reptiles. You may not have known this, and this is the week to talk about it, at or near Mardi Gras. There goes my plans for the week.
I just want to point out that Louisiana is full of reptiles.
Yeah.
And reptiles themselves are breaking that law all the time.
Oh, totally.
All up and down the
there's
street.
plenty of snakes. I guess that we're trying to keep people from bringing snakes into the crowd.
Oh,
while they
right,
watch
yeah.
it, whatever. But my personal favorite, and it's perfect, I think, to close out our drinking news segment, comes from Minnesota, where the law specifically states that no person may be charged with or convicted of the offense of drunkenness or public drunkenness. That's a law in Minnesota. You cannot be charged with drunkenness.
There's a but.
No.
Really?
Yeah. In fact, reporting live from Minnesota, the state known as the Star of the North and the potential new home of Smokin' and Toastin', where I've just ordered another round. My name is Cruz, and that is your...
Drinking news. Oh, hold on a second. Isn't there a place just north of Atlanta, Georgia, like Kennesaw or one of those areas where it's literally on the books, it's illegal to not carry a firearm?
Oh, I didn't know that. I should have found that
I think it's one of those laws that's
Yeah.
Somebody look that up because I may be wrong.
I think that's where Marjorie Taylor Greene lives, if I'm not mistaken. We'll look that up.
Drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news, drinking news, drinking news. That's our time for drinking news.
Cheers, y'all. By the way, during the drinking news segment, during our one of our last segments, I picked up and took a huge swallow of the tequila, not realizing that was my tequila cup. During this segment, I didn't take a swallow. I didn't even take a taste, but I put this to my nose and smelled it because we're about to taste.
I was way too busy breaking music licensing laws.
Thank you for that. We're about to taste this Untitled Art.
Oh my gosh! Smell that.
Is that not the greatest smelling beer you've ever smelled?
I got to be honest. If you put this to my nose and said, "What is this?" I don't know that beer would even enter my mind.
I know. It really does.
It smells like ice cream. It smells like when
and waffles.
you know when your ice cream sits out a little too long and it's sogged up the cake real bad.
Yeah.
It
Totally,
smells like
dude.
that.
So I'll give you a hint into my dementia.
Good to know.
When I do eat ice cream, which I try not to do too much, because I love it so much, and I know how many calories it has. But when I do eat it, I put it in the microwave for 9 seconds.
Oh, just to soften up the outside a little bit.
And then I stir it to where it's like soft. And then I put chocolate syrup on it.
Oh, you have a method,
Dude,
sir.
that's a definition of heaven right there. Or maybe this is.
I'm not
based on
happy.
the
So
smell.
this
Have
is
you done research?
unbelievable.
First of all, let me just say, Untitled Art, these guys are creative connoisseurs. They really are. They really go for it. And they don't do necessarily bizarre stuff. Like I think of Ingenious as those guys will try anything.
Those guys can do some
right?
bizarre
And
stuff.
Bizarre and wonderful, but they can do anything. Untitled Art, I more think of them as these guys are just.
How can we make ice cream waffle pastry into a beer?
But they've done it.
This is unbelievable.
Exactly what this is. Oh, you got to try this. This brewery is out of Waunukee, Wisconsin, and and I don't even know if that's like close to Green Bay or anything. I don't even know, but the beer is amazing. And we've had other Untitled Art beers on this show before, and we've been crazy about all of them.
We've had beers that have, like, this is ice cream waffle pastry stout, okay?
Right. And it tastes like every one of those things.
And it just says right on here, it says, pastry stout made with milk sugar, midnight wheat malt, and natural flavors. Mm-hmm. We've had beers on here that have, like, this long description of what's in it. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, you can kind of start parsing out flavors. First off, this smells like ice cream.
Yeah, it does. And it tastes like ice cream, waffle, pastry, stout.
The initial sip, I mean, you get ice cream up front, and then it rolls into this waffle, but drenched in maple syrup waffle.
Oh.
Like, let me be honest. Who doesn't like a waffle that's been sitting there a little too long and just got soggy with the syrup?
Yeah.
You know?
I like waffles that are soggy in the middle and crispy on the outside.
On the outside,
yeah. Yeah. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back to wrap up the show. It's Smoking and Toasting. This beer is incredible.
Outrageous.
I just need you to make some room, 'cause
Welcome back. It is Smoking and Toasting. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. By the way, Ian, I had mentioned on last week's show, and it was just because I had my dates confused, that Abby Heim was going to be joining us. She is with Pink Boots, which I don't know a lot about, but I understand that they're representing women in craft beer. And she's also involved with Great Heights Brewery. So she's going to be bringing on some cool beers, and we're going to talk to her. But that has been moved to March. That'll be coming up in several weeks. So that's why she was on today's show. That was my goof, not hers. So I just wanted to mention that. And I hope I'm not goofing about this, because an old friend returns to the show next week as we welcome back Joe Breda from Old Humble Distilling.
I love that guy.
Yeah, and I love what he... And I believe that they've just released a bourbon. So I have a feeling that's what he's here to talk about. So
you remember, I think last time he had that coffee whiskey that he was experimenting with. And
yes,
it was actually
so good.
Pretty good, yeah.
So good, yeah. I love Joe. I love that whole distillery and what they're all about. So I'm very excited. And then coming up on the first week of March, Tim Young and Joel Johnson will join us. They are with Hooten Young Whiskey and Cigars. And so we're really excited about this. In fact, we may be trying to do the show on location so we can smoke.
Yes.
I'm glad you're in on this.
I'm
This is
for
good.
it.
This is good. And then the week after that, Abby Heim will be here. So we'll find out about Pink Boots and what they're all doing. But a lot of great guests on the show. And as I mentioned, the week of Cinco de Mayo. Very excited about
That's going to be such a fun show.
Anejo Tequila blind taste test. Blind being the operative word.
Yes.
Not only will we not know what we're tasting, but we'll probably be blind by the end of the show. It's probably how that's going to work out. So, fun time hanging with you today. 3 really excellent beers. The Mardi Gras Bock I really loved. The Voodoo Ranger is now my favorite Imperial IPA of all time.
It's pretty freaking amazing, man.
And then how do you go wrong with Untitled Art and the Ice Cream Waffle Pastry Stout?
Pastry Stout. Man, it's just pretty darn good.
You know what's interesting is it's not super boozy. I don't know what the percentage is.
8%, so it's not brutal,
Yeah.
but it's not gentle
So we
either.
actually the IPA was bigger than that.
The IPA is bigger than that. It's 9.5%.
Dude, that's super fun. I love it. Well, thanks to everybody for tuning in on the program this week. Hope you enjoyed checking out the Texas World Cup Beer Award winners. Very proud of some of our local and regional breweries.
Don't forget to send us your local faves, especially from outside of Texas, or even if you're inside of Texas.
What we want is, what are your favorite beers from your state?
Yes,
That's what we want to hear. So if you live in a huge state like Texas or a small state like Rhode Island, doesn't matter. Just out of the beers you've tried that are from your state, what are your top 5 favorites? And send us that list. The email address is st@rfcmedia.com. And I'll also say, by the way, you can send us any questions you want, whether they're about cigars or craft beer or spirits or just, life in general. Dating tips. Ian's really good with those.
Oh, yeah.
So he will help you out. So whatever you're
I'm the
looking
guy
for.
to ask.
Yeah, whatever you're looking for. You can also
send us beers.
Right, and you can also send us comments about things we've talked about on the show.
You know how a lot of people are like, "Hey, click subscribe and hit the bell." We're like, just send us beers.
Wouldn't it be great if on our YouTube channel, down at the bottom of the video at the end, there was a button you could click to send us beer?
That would be amazing.
That would be awesome. We're going to work on that and have more information for you next week.
YouTube has completely demonetized this, but we wouldn't care.
Yeah, that's all right. We would, if you send us beer, we're happy. Have a great week, my friends. Thank you for joining us for number 316 of Smoking and Toasting. And until we meet again next week with our special guest, Joe Breda from Old Humble.
Cheers.
Cheers, y'all.
Sunshine is so good to you. Whatever happens, don't leave it so soon.